Good evening, and a warm welcome to this evening's edition of Cross Currents, where we delve into the most pressing societal debates of our time. Tonight, we confront a profoundly contentious issue. Should governments implement social credit systems? These systems, which score citizens based on their behavior, are lauded by some as a path to societal order and criticized by others as a descent into surveillance states. To explore this complex topic, we are joined by two distinguished guests. Arguing in favor is Mr. Kenji Tanaka, a government policy advisor with extensive experience in public administration. And presenting the arguments against, we have Ms. Zara Al-Jamil, a prominent human rights lawyer and privacy advocate. Our debate will proceed with opening statements from each speaker, followed by a moderated discussion with opportunities for rebuttal, and finally, closing statements.
Thank you, Dr. Vance. It's a privilege to be here to discuss such a pivotal subject. When we speak of social credit systems, we are envisioning a sophisticated mechanism designed primarily to foster a more trustworthy, predictable, and ultimately orderly society. The potential benefits are manifold and deeply significant for the well-being of our communities. Consider, for instance, the enhancement of public safety through the discouragement of antisocial behaviors, or the bolstering of market integrity by rewarding honest business practices and penalizing fraudulent activities. Moreover, such systems can powerfully incentivize pro-social conduct, such as environmental responsibility, active civic participation, and adherence to public health guidelines. Imagine a framework where individuals and businesses with demonstrably positive track records gain preferential access to services, credit facilities, or even public recognition, thereby creating a virtuous cycle of responsible citizenship. For example, a citizen who consistently volunteers or separates waste meticulously might find it easier to secure a small business loan or receive a discount on public transport. This is not about punitive control. It is about creating a transparent system of rewards that benefits everyone by fostering a more cooperative and reliable social fabric. I understand that the concept evokes apprehension in some quarters, often fueled by dystopian narratives. However, I firmly believe many of these concerns arise from misunderstandings of the system's intent and potential, or can be comprehensively addressed through meticulous design, transparent algorithms, and robust, independent oversight.
Dr. Vance, Mr. Tanaka, thank you. While Mr. Tanaka paints a picture of societal harmony, I must define social credit systems from a human rights perspective. They are, fundamentally, instruments for pervasive state surveillance and sophisticated social engineering. My objections are immediate and profound, rooted in the bedrock principles of human dignity and fundamental freedoms. These systems inherently violate the right to privacy, transforming everyday life into a constant performance to be judged by the state. They cast a chilling effect on freedom of expression and freedom of assembly, as citizens may self-censor or avoid association for fear of a negative impact on their score. Furthermore, they operate on a presumption of guilt, requiring citizens to continuously prove their, quote, goodness, rather than being presumed innocent and free to act within the bounds of democratically enacted laws. The risks are not merely theoretical, they are terrifyingly tangible. Algorithmic bias, which is notoriously difficult to eradicate, can lead to systemic discrimination against minority groups, the economically disadvantaged, or anyone who deviates from a state-prescribed norm. There is an alarming potential for misuse of such systems for political control, silencing dissent and critical voices by labeling them as socially undesirable. This could easily lead to the creation of a permanently stratified society, a digital caste system, where one's life chances are dictated by an opaque, government-controlled score. I fundamentally question the legitimacy and wisdom of any centralized authority, however benevolent its stated intentions, defining and quantifying, quote, good citizenship, a path that leads directly to the Orwellian dystopia Mr. Tanaka so readily dismisses.
Thank you both for those compelling opening statements. Mr. Tanaka, Ms. Al-Jamil, has articulated a rather stark vision. emphasizing the grave risks to individual liberties and the ominous potential for discrimination. How would a government, in your view, ensure that a social credit system is implemented with demonstrable fairness, genuine transparency, and without unjustly infringing upon those fundamental human rights she has so passionately defended?
Dr. Vance, Ms. Al-Jamil's concerns are indeed significant, and I don't dismiss them lightly. The key to an ethical social credit system lies in its architecture and governance. Firstly, fairness and transparency demand that the algorithms underpinning the system are open to scrutiny, not, quote, black boxes. The criteria for scoring must be clearly defined, narrowly tailored, and publicly accessible. Secondly, robust data protection laws akin to Europe's GDPR are non-negotiable. This includes strict limits on what data can be collected, how it's stored, and for how long. Crucially, there must be independent oversight bodies, insulated from political interference, with the power to audit the system, investigate complaints, and enforce compliance. Furthermore, effective and accessible appeal mechanisms are essential, allowing individuals to challenge scores they believe are inaccurate or unjust. It's important to reframe the objective. This is not primarily about punishment, but about creating positive incentives. Benefits, such as discounts or streamlined access to services, would accrue to those demonstrating responsible, pro-social behavior, not as a universal imposition of penalties. The dystopian portrayal, while a useful, cautionary tale, doesn't reflect the aim of fostering societal harmony and mutual trust. We are talking about an evolution of existing systems of reputation and credit, but formalized and made more equitable through transparent rules.
Ms. Al-Jamil, Mr. Tanaka proposes a framework with stringent safeguards, transparent algorithms, data protection, independent oversight, and a focus on positive incentives, suggesting these could foster a more responsible society. Given these proposed protections, are there any societal problems so severe that they might, in your opinion, warrant the cautious consideration of such a system? Or do the inherent risks always outweigh any potential benefits?
Mr. Tanaka's proposed safeguards, while sounding reassuring on paper, do not, in my view, mitigate the fundamental dangers inherent in these systems. The very premise of constant, pervasive monitoring and the quantification of citizens' behavior by the state is intrinsically problematic. It irrevocably shifts the power dynamic, creating an imbalance heavily skewed towards the governing authorities. Regarding oversight bodies, one must question their true independence and efficacy, particularly in political contexts that are not robustly democratic, or where the rule of law is fragile. Who guards the guardians? The distinction between positive incentives and, quote, coercive requirements can become dangerously blurred. What begins as a reward can easily morph into a de facto necessity, creating a system where non-participation or a low score leads to exclusion and disadvantage. Furthermore, the definition of responsible behavior itself is susceptible to political manipulation. Today, it might be recycling. Tomorrow, it could be attending patriotic rallies or refraining from criticizing government policy. We must be acutely aware of the slippery slope argument. Initial systems, perhaps introduced with genuinely good intentions to tackle specific issues like financial fraud, can incrementally expand in scope and intrusiveness, becoming pervasive tools for broader social control and conformity. Therefore, I maintain that the inherent risks to liberty, privacy, and equality are too profound and too pervasive to be justified, regardless of the severity of the societal problem one aims to address with such a system.
A critical element in this entire discussion is, undoubtedly, the data itself. What types of data are collected, the methodologies for its interpretation, and the ever-present potential for error or inherent bias. Mr. Tanaka, how can the integrity and impartiality of data collection processes and the subsequent algorithmic decision-making be genuinely guaranteed? And Ms. Al-Jamil, following that, what are your most profound concerns regarding the data underpinning these systems?
Guaranteeing integrity involves multiple layers. Where feasible, Data should be anonymized or pseudonymized. Strict limitations must be imposed on the types of data collected, focusing only on what is directly relevant and necessary. Regular, independent audits of algorithms for bias are paramount, alongside the establishment of AI ethics committees to continuously review and refine these systems. Ultimately, public trust is indispensable, and that can only be earned if the systems are demonstrably fair, transparent in their operations, and consistently accurate.
My concerns are manifold. Firstly, the sheer volume of data collected makes breaches almost inevitable, exposing sensitive personal information to malicious actors. Secondly, data can be easily misinterpreted, taken out of context, or become outdated, yet still contribute to a citizen's score. The quote, black box nature of many complex algorithms makes challenging such errors incredibly difficult for the average person. Most alarmingly, this leads to the creation of permanent, unchangeable digital identities based on past behavior, denying individuals the chance for redemption or to escape youthful indiscretions. In closing, I must reiterate that social credit systems, however well-intentioned their proponents claim them to be, represent an unacceptable and dangerous infringement on fundamental human dignity, privacy, and freedom. They are not a benign tool for societal improvement. They are a blueprint for a surveillance state, paving the way for unprecedented levels of social engineering and control. The inherent risks of algorithmic bias, systemic discrimination, the chilling of dissent, and the creation of a society where citizens live in constant fear of judgment far outweigh any purported benefits of enforced conformity. True societal advancement does not stem from technologically enforced compliance or the constant scoring of our lives. It emerges from addressing the root causes of societal problems, issues like economic inequality, lack of access to education and healthcare, and systemic injustice. Through robust social support systems, equitable laws, and a commitment to genuine justice for all, we must not be seduced by the allure of technological solutions that promise order at the cost of our most cherished democratic values and individual liberties. My final appeal is simple. Let us uphold and defend fundamental human rights with unwavering resolve and resist the insidious creep of systems that seek to quantify, rank, and ultimately control the human spirit.
Thank you. My core argument remains that responsibly designed and meticulously implemented social credit systems can indeed be a valuable instrument for promoting societal well-being. Their purpose is to encourage ethical behavior, enhance public trust, and contribute to greater safety and efficiency within our communities. The challenges related to privacy, fairness, and potential misuse, which Ms. Al-Jamil has rightly highlighted, are significant, but they are not insurmountable. Through robust legal frameworks, advanced technological safeguards including privacy-enhancing technologies, and unwavering democratic oversight, these concerns can be effectively addressed and mitigated. Imagine a society where individuals and businesses are actively recognized and rewarded for their positive contributions, for their honesty, their civic engagement, their environmental stewardship. This isn't about control. It's about fostering a culture of mutual responsibility and cooperation, leading to a more harmonious, efficient, and ultimately a more prosperous community for everyone. Complex societal challenges necessitate innovative approaches. My final appeal is for open-minded, nuanced consideration of such systems, focusing on their potential to deliver tangible benefits rather than allowing fear of perceived risks to stifle progress. Let us engage in constructive dialogue to explore how these tools can be harnessed for the common good, with all necessary protections firmly in place.
Mr. Tanaka, Ms. Al-Jamil, thank you both for your exceptionally insightful and vigorous contributions to this critical debate tonight. You have clearly illuminated the central tension, the understandable societal aspiration for order, safety, and efficiency, set against the absolute imperative to protect individual freedoms and prevent any overreach of state power. We sincerely hope this discussion has provided our audience with ample food for thought and encourages continued critical reflection on the multifaceted issues raised. Thank you for joining us on Cross Currents. Good evening.